Alrighty, guys. So that was just my quick season in review. My review, my predictions. Fun little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now we're gonna move on to the the playoff predictions. So the playoff is finally set. Really excited, man. 18 playoff. So it'll be a best of 3 series. And this World Series will be in Arlington for some reason. They're having like specific locations for all these games, which I don't like. I guess it's just to make sure people don't get the virus, but I don't know. I think it's kind of annoying. But anyways, let's move on to the number 1 seed in the East, the Tampa Bay Rays. Couldn't be more excited that they finished first overall in the AL. Just like I said, they got that power 3. Snell, Glasnow, Morton. Just a powerful 3. All got nasty stuff. All are gamers. And then their lineup is really respectable. I mean, they cycle in guys, and they all they care about is matchups. I mean, you see Hunter Renfroe, he's hitting like 175, but they put him in the lineup against lefties because he hits homers off lefties, and when they put him in against lefties, he hits homers. You put Satsugo in against righties, and same with like G-Man Choi, and they just have guys that produce and get hits. And then looking at the bullpen, I mean, they have a plethora of arms. You got Fairbanks, who's great. You got Oliver Drake. You've got Diego Castillo. You've got Sheriff. You've got the guy with the nasty slider, Nate Thompson. Who else is in their bullpen? I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Curtis. I don't know what his first name is, but he's nasty too. And then, so they'll usually do that like 1 out of 5 days. They'll do like a bullpen day for their starters, because Yanni Chirinos got hurt and is out for the year. Oh, and they have Nick Anderson. I forgot to talk about him. And then Yarbrough was their 4th starter. It wasn't that great this year, to be honest. He's only good really when he hits the spots, and he did last year, but not really this year. But the thing about the Rays, man, is they got the power 3 with Snell, Glasnow, Morton, and then they got a great bullpen. And their lineup will probably, it depends on matchups a lot. So like, Toronto will start Ryu game 1. So you'll have is Brandon Lau a lefty? I think Brandon Lau's a lefty. But like Hunter Renfroe will probably start. Randy Ronzarena, who's a great minor league guy that they brought up. I don't know what's the deal with Mike Zunino, but they do need help catching because Michael Perez, even though he's a pretty good defensive catcher, does not hit well for average. He's hitting like 200. So they're not getting much protection. Oh, they might start Kevin Smith, actually. And then they got Adames, Yandy Diaz. They might start G-Man against the lefty. I don't know. And then, Kiermaier's been decent, so they'll start him probably. But, overall, like, I think the Rays are kind of a lock to beat the Blue Jays. I'm happy Toronto got in, especially after, like, going after VR, and Robbie Ray. Their rotation for this playoffs will probably be Game 1, Ryu, Game 2, Ray maybe, and then Game 3 Roark, if I'm wrong. They might start Julian Merriweather also, one of those games. But, I just don't think they'll be able to hit that Rays pitching very well. And I think the Rays are going to score runs, and I like the Rays in this. I guess it'll go 3 games. I'm not sure. The Rays are just better in like every category. Like they have a better lineup, they have better starting pitching, and they have a better bullpen. I think Toronto, it's going to get rocky when they bring in their bullpen. I just don't see Toronto putting together 9 innings, getting quality outs against a really good Rays lineup that works counts, that gets guys on base. They just get on base how hard they can, and just hits extra base hits. So I really like the Rays in this first round against the Blue Jays. Congrats to the Blue Jays for making it. Happy they did. Got a good young team. and we're decent this year. Better than the Red Sox. But, I like the Rays in this in 3 games. That's my call. So next series, we've got Cleveland and the Yankees. Really interesting matchup here. Game 1 is going to be awesome when you have Cole and Bieber. That'll be great. The Yankees are sort of kind of coming back into form. Judge and Stanton are back. They do have a hole at catcher. Sanchez is playing terrible. Torres is back. So they're kind of coming back into form. And for Cleveland, the question is how well are they going to hit Yankees pitching? And how well is their lineup going to produce well? That's my question. I think their bullpen is pretty good, and they're going to have great starting pitching, but, I think, one, we haven't seen Bieber against the Yankees or, a really good team this year. I mean, he's pitched against the Twins and White Sox, but, we haven't seen him against the cream of the crop of the AL East, and that's going to be really interesting to see how he does, potentially against the Rays, obviously against the Yankees. So we're going to see what he's made of. And, he's going to be facing, the Yankees lineup in true form. You got Voit, Stanton, LeMahieu, Judge, Sanchez. Who's their second? Gio Urshela. He does not play second base, though. LeMahieu's their second baseman. Aaron Hicks, Tauchman might start. You get the vibe. It's going to be a sick lineup. We'll see how well this Indians pitching does against this lineup, because this lineup can score runs. For the Yankees, I wonder who they'll start game 2, because, you go Cole game 1. Maybe they go Davey Garcia game 2. I don't know. Is Happ? I need to look at. Do you think they'd start J. Happ game 2? No. J. Happ's been okay, so maybe they'll start him game 2. And they also could start Mike Montgomery. I want to see his stats because I haven't. Oh, Jordan Montgomery, not Mike. I always get them confused. They're both big lefties. But I think they'll probably start. Oh no, Jordan Montgomery sucked. I think they'll start Garcia probably one game, and I guess Happ, the other. But I'm not too scared of the Indians lineup, to be honest. I mean, Lindor, you got Lindor, you got Hernandez, Mercado, obviously Ramirez. I don't think it's spectacular. And the Yankees definitely have the advantage in the bullpen. So I'd probably go Yankees in 3, honestly, in this series. I know the Indians have had a great series, but season. I just like the Yankees just because they have such a powerful offense. Their starting pitching will be serviceable, but I think their bullpen's going to help out a lot. And I don't fear the Indians lineup that much, and it's going to be really interesting how this Indians pitching does against this crazy Yankees lineup. So anyways, Yankees in 3. Then we have got the Twins, TC, versus the Astros. Really interesting matchup here. Verlander's done for the year. So it's probably going to be Greinke game 1, or maybe Valdez game 1. Greinke, Valdez, and then game 3, probably McCullers. So that'll be interesting. Then Twins, it'll be Dobnak, Barrios, Odorizzi probably, or Homer Bailey. The Twins, we'll see how they do come postseason, man. Last year their bats went cold against the Yankees in that series. They got swept in 3 games. They really couldn't hit. They just didn't look like a postseason team. And we'll see how they look this year. I hope they don't get intimidated by the Astros. The Astros won't have the buzzers. Sorry about that. But, the Astros, their offense hasn't been the same this year, and you can't dispute that. So hopefully, I really want the Twins to win this. Am I confident they'll win? I think so. I think the Twins will win in 3 games, maybe 2, but I could definitely see Houston winning this series. I could see Correa, Bregman, Yuli, Gurriel, all those Tucker, all just come Altuve, just coming alive, and just ripping the ball all over the place. The thing is they don't have the pitching this year. They don't have that. They don't have Greinke, Cole, Verlander. They have Greinke, Valdez, McCullers, who are like all okay, and then their bullpen is like decent, but I don't think Ozuna's back yet. So the Twins should win this series, just because their lineup is so good, man. I mean, this is probably the battle of like some of the best lineups in baseball. I mean, you got Kepler, Donaldson, Sano, Polanco. Garver hasn't had a good season, but usually he's great. Marlon Gonzalez, Eddie Rosario, Buxton's had a decent year. The Twins should win, and I hope they do. And I'll take the Twins in 3 in this. Moving on, we've got the A's next in second. I know I'm a huge A's guy. I love how they put their team together. I love Matt Chapman. I think he's such a great player. I think he's really underrated. Matt Olson didn't have a great year, but he hit a lot of home runs, and he had a great on-base percentage, so that's that. Simeon, good year. Sean Murphy, good defensively. Not a great hitting year, but he hit some home runs. He hit a bomb the other day, too, when I was watching the highlights. Laureano, good year. Grossman had an all right year. Chris Davis, not good this year again, which kind of stinks, since they're paying him that much money. He was just off this year. Once again, that's 2 years in a row of him just not being great. Let me look at his stats. Oh, God, he hit 190 this year. Wow, that's terrible. They got Piscotty, though. I forgot about Steven Piscotty. But the main thing about the A's is their bullpen this year, man. Their bullpen has been fantastic. Petit's been great. Like I said, I think Liam Hendricks is the best reliever in the MLB, period. He's just so nasty. He throws 98. He has disgusting breaking ball. And he's just so hard to hit. Who else was great? I think Diekman was okay, but Trevino wasn't that great also again this year. But Soria was good. Petit was good. They got Mike Minor in their bullpen as like another lefty to have. They're using him in the bullpen and not as a starter, which is kind of interesting. And then they're starting pitching. It's a great question to ask, like, who will the A's start game 1? I think that's a great question to ask. And I don't really know because, like, Luzardo, I guess Montas game 1, but Fires hasn't been that good. Wendelken's been good, by the way, also in the bullpen. I'm trying to think who else. I think they might have to start Minor 1 game maybe because, like, looking at their starters, right? Fires, he hasn't had a good season. He's also throwing like 88. Montas has been good. Luzardo has been good, but they're pitching him out of the bullpen. So, like, they pitched him out of the bullpen the other day. So I don't know why they're doing that. Manea hasn't been good this season. What is Chris Bassett's stats? I think he's been, like, all right this year. Chris Bassett's been terrific. Yeah, I thought he'd been, like, pretty good. So, game 1, Montas probably, then game 2, Bassett, then game 3, like, Luzardo / bullpen day probably, for the A's. Moving to the White Sox. The White Sox had a good season this year, not gonna lie. Their bullpen came through. Not their bullpen. Their lineup came through. They did have a good bullpen. Giolito had a good year. Lopez was all right. Dane Dunning, former Nat prospect, had a good year. And like I said, their lineup's dangerous. They got Eloy, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson had a good year. Brayu, Yasmani Grandal. Just got a good lineup. In terms of matching up with the A's, I don't like the matchup that much for them. If they can score runs, like, they'll be... It comes down to if they can score runs. I think they can score runs off the A's, And if so, like that's going to be bad for the A's, because the A's are not a team that scores a ton of runs, and they just don't have like those home run bats, that like the White Sox do. Like Anderson, Moncada, Abreu, Aloy, Luis Robert, Grandal. Like, I'm scared anytime those guys step into the batter's box, just because like they rake, they hit home runs. You can't really say the same for the A's lineup. Like, Chapman's great, Simeon's great, Olson's good, Cam is all right, Piscotty's okay, but like it's just kind of a lineup that works kind of like because of the counterparts, and they don't really have like a bunch of dominant offensive players on that team. Chapman's probably their best offensive player on that team, and like he's really good, but he's just not as good of a pure hitter as like Abreu or like Robert or Moncada. You know what I mean? So there's a real chance the White Sox could win the series for sure. Honestly, I will take the White Sox in 3 games in the series. Just because the A's need to show a little more offense to show that they can beat the White Sox. Because the White Sox are gonna score runs, man. I mean, they got a great lineup, and I think their bullpen's good enough. I mean, they have Crochet, Colome's been great. They have Aaron Bummer. Like, they have a good bullpen, and I think their bullpen will do well. So I hate to do this because like I really want the A's to succeed, man. But like, if I had to put money on it, I'd honestly put money on the White Sox. I just really hope the Rays win the World Series. That's all I want. Or the Padres. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for our AL wild card predictions. I'll make another video with the next matchups after this series concludes. So anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys, and I'll make the NL one right now.